Hello, my beautiful badgers. Messi Coda back again. This time I'm joined on the sofa with Unity themselves. That's right, they've come in for a live dev interview. That was on my live Twitch stream, allthews.twitch.tv/themessycoda. Elena and Andre came and joined me, and we asked them lots of questions. I've got no idea how we managed to pull this off, but I'm just glad we did. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you all in a second. I just want to say, everyone that's sitting at home, in front of your laptops, your PCs, your Amazon mirrors, your Google Watches, your Alexas, your Siris, give a warm and messy welcome to Elena and Andre from Unity. That's right, Unity. Welcome to the Badgers Den, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
having us.
It's such a pleasure.
Well, thank you for coming in. Do not say it's a pleasure yet until you get your gift bag and leave through the door, because it's always open to the questions in chat, so we never know what's going to happen. So I warn you now. There is already a channel. We've got a questions channel on Discord, and I will read out some of the questions that got posted in there. And I was like, open up to questions, guys. Go help with questions to, know who both of them are, and questions coming in. And I will apologize in advance that some of those questions are obviously by people who have experienced something that they need some technical assistance on, that only a mind of somebody who happens to work at Unity might be able to assist with.
I mean, I hope so that we can help. We'll do our best.
Your best is always good enough. Do not worry about that. Well, I'm just going to hand the floor over to yourselves just to give a little intro. Who wants to go first in saying a little brief hello of something about yourselves? Probably already know, but let's be professional.
I can go first, or do you want to go first, Elena?
No, I volunteer you.
All right. Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Nice happy Wednesday to everyone. Stay safe, stay home. My name is Andre, and I work at Unity in the same team as Elena. We're from the evangelism team, and on the side I also have a YouTube channel. It's called Mix and Jam, where I do some game development experimentation here and there, and it's been so far very fun. But yeah, thank you so much for having me, Messi.
I was very modest. You're very modest in your intro, but you're more than welcome. I think everyone, nearly everyone, I think most people know of your channel, because with your channel they've realized that Unity is a lot more powerful than some of them thought possible, especially things like I'm just showing a video here, the God of War axe throw, which is a great video. And one of the things that strikes me in particular about this, it's not just like we all like recreating things in Unity. I've recreated the Marvel vs. Capcom character selection, which was a lot of fun. But what struck me the most about this is that you give credit to other sources that you inspired you, and even you found code and tutorials from. You cite those sources, you encourage people to go there, and then you offer all of your work open source on the GitHub to people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really think that game development is it's a journey for everyone. So if I'm the one learning from the masters that are making these great games, I feel like everyone should have an opportunity, right, to learn. And I guess it's always good to have open resources, because the other thing that happens, which is pretty cool at this moment, is that sometimes I do some of these projects and people actually collaborate. So people that are much smarter and know about like more complex things like AI or anything else, they actually implement those things in the projects, and I couldn't be more grateful. It's so super cool.
It's amazing. We're just sitting. I could just sit here watching this video now as we're chatting. Like, how are you doing that axe? But that's a chat for another time. So, and Eleanor, thank you so much for joining. Everyone knows your voice from watching the YouTube streams of the Unity that you guys do over there. That unique accent that As soon as we hear it, we know there's a Unity video going live.
So thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's been really a great pleasure to be part of those live streams. And particularly because it's a pretty new experiment for us here at Unity. You know, for those of you that have been subscribed to Unity's channel, you've seen that, you know, we are really known for our tutorials, for the talks from all these events that we host or we're part of, right? But there's just something to be said about having this live engagement, right? We're here right now, looking at the chat and Discord, asking questions. And there's nothing really that can substitute that, you know, instantaneous sort of gratification of hearing the answer, feeling connected to the person online, even though that's kind of I guess, a bit of a weird concept, right? Feeling connected to someone who's so far away, possibly continents and thousands of kilometers away, right? But we love the fact that every time we host those game jams, that people join from all over the place, and people come in with all sorts of, you know, different backgrounds, expertise. Some are opening Unity for the very first time in their lives, and some are coming into a brand new beginner live stream and asking questions like, how can I rotate seasons on the queue, right? Which is clearly not something that a beginner would ask when they're still trying to figure out hierarchy versus, you know, all these other things with an editor. But it's been a great pleasure to be able to join the team. As you will see, everybody who's on that stream, they're highly technical, right? Andre, our other technical evangelist, Sam from Saiku, you know, this weekend we're doing another one on Sunday with my guy who, if you guys have ever been interested in dots, right? He is kind of the poster child, you know, for all things dots. And here is me, right? I am not really very strong in Unity, but I did spend several years streaming video games. I am still like 10 years old on the inside, so I play video games all the time. And so, you know, it's great to bring in that sort of casual voice of, you know, let's just do this here together online with 1,000+ people, all learn together, make mistakes together, and just have a great time. And it's been great to be a part of that team at Unity.
So have you found yourself sitting there partaking of the game jam yourself, like trying to make something in part of a team?
Yeah, so actually I'm making something for the one that's coming up this Sunday. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I don't expect you to follow me on Twitter, but I was trying to add particle systems to the cart and the little driver. And of course, you know, when your particle system doesn't look sexy, what do? You watch Andre's tutorial. So there I was. And then, of course, I also have a benefit of being able to Slack him or, you know, message him on his personal phone at like 11 o'clock at night. Andre, the particle system is not working.
That's the kind of thing that keeps me moving, Elena. It's fine.
Yes. It's much harder to do it live on the stream, right? Because you're kind of looking after the chat. Every once in a while, you will see, because all of those hosts, they're, you know, so advanced, and they start talking. And then the previous live stream that Andre was hosting, we were looking at the FPS sample, and, you know, here we are breaking it down for beginners. And then I hear Andre and Hugo from CodeMonkey go, oh yeah, that's a nav mash. And I go, all right. Let's take it back a step. What is NavMash? Let's break it down for folks, right, who are joining us for the first time. So it's hard to do it live, but I do end up, you know, trying out the resources that are available, the microgame templates, the creator kits, because, you know, I don't want to be working with someone who is a Unity powerhouse and then not know one thing about what Unity actually does. You know, that is never my intention.
I think there's one of the things about Unity that really drives a lot of us, and I mean we all have our little niggly hates, love-hate relationship, but the thing it makes it so accessible for people from completely different backgrounds. I mean, Andre, you come from a design background, and here you are teaching yourself C#, and I think I remember watching a video where Unity was the first time you were really getting into C#, coming from a design background.
Exactly. Yeah, that is actually very true. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about it. I had like no idea what was an integer or anything, but now I feel a little bit comfortable, like enough.
Give,
enough to prototype stuff.
give us a little bit of the timeline from you finishing uni doing design, getting into opening up Unity for the first time, going, oh, what's a hello world, yeah, and then
Right.
turning around and going, how does the axe throw in God of War work? I know, I'll just do my own version of how I interpret it.
Okay, so sorry. The way that whole like that I made basically my life decisions was that I was studying design because I really like graphic design stuff um and other design aspects in general. So I'm from Brazil and I was doing college for design, but I always wanted to work games somehow. And as not being knowledgeable about code at all, I thought that I was going to just be part of maybe some other aspect of game development, like UI design, UX, or even graphic design. Yeah, right. And then even game design. So I thought that was going to be my thing, right? So at some point, I got the opportunity to study a specific course that in that course the teacher chose to teach game design within Unity, right? And I don't know. Of course, there's a ton of factors that made me click. Like, of course, the teacher was awesome. Of course, the time that I got Unity in my hands, it was really resourceful in terms of like putting something on Google and finding out immediately what was wrong with my project and stuff. But I had an amazing amazing teachers, and I'm come from Brazil and specifically in my city, there wasn't a great gaming education. When I had that opportunity to study games, I just dived into it like it meant everything to me because I was like, oh my god, this is so cool! Like I can make my own stuff. What? Are you serious? And then, I just kept practicing. I eventually didn't have those classes anymore, so I had to find reasons to keep practicing. Of course, first started trying to make like my little games and prototypes. But then the other thing, which I thought was super cool to practice, was to recreate stuff from other games, because it's in terms of scope is really nice because you get to, challenge yourself. You see something from a game and you're like, huh, like how would I do that? Taking into account whatever skill is it that I have. So how would I do that? And I remember doing this with basically no video, right? And then I had some friends that said that it would be cool to just see the process. And
Must we,
and
we've got
since
your
I'm
friends to thank for that. So your friends
yes, of
asked you
course.
to record your progress.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like my channel is really just how do you say this? An output of everyone that has been inspiring me so far, my teacher, my friends, people I work with, until this day, right? So, I mean, and of course I took the challenge because since I had a design background, I really am into like brand and video editing and, all this kind of things. So it was sort of a chance to explore both game development and also the passion I always had, graphic design, which is something I try to do my best in the videos, adding a bit of like After Effects and editing or whatnot.
That professional
But yeah,
flair.
and that's basically that little professional flair. But yeah, that's sort of the story, the timeline.
I think that's what resonates with people as well, because it really does feel like you are that person sitting at home who just looks at a game or just goes, I wish that I could make this, but that's never going to happen. I don't know how to code. I've got no idea how games work. So it's just a pipe dream. And then they Google in, or they get recommended a video, and there you are. How does the menu in Smash Brothers work and things like that? So it was one of those things that people look at and they go, oh, somebody's having the same questions that I am and is helping me find the answers. And exactly as you're describing, you then build a community of like-minded people. And the fact that you're an open source evangelist as well, I wanted to say a Unity evangelist, we've got a lot of them in chat actually. There's a massive open source a community that we've got And if you say anything bad about it, you get hit straight away in chat. There he is, Wizards Don't Code. Hello, buddy. Soon as we say open source, up you pop. And we were actually talking to a developer yesterday who's on the asset store, Heathen Engineering. They do an amazing asset called Steamworks, which helps you get your Unity games hooked into Steam. And it's amazing. And the foundation of all their assets is this thing called System Core, which they have released open source on GitHub to anyone who wants to use it. And it basically leverages scriptable objects. So it makes scriptable objects as variables. So you can have a scriptable float. And it's scriptable objects as events as well that you can have listeners on. So anytime your health changes, a listener can go, oh, health has changed. All right, I'll do something about it. And they've provided that open source to the community. I didn't even realize it. And there's a load of people that have done it, like Amplify Creations have done a similar thing. They've, instead of deprecating their assets, they open it up to the community, provide it as open source on GitHub, and then they curate it, take a stable branch, polish it up, and stick it on the asset store to make it more accessible to people to download freely. Do you find that is one of the key characteristics of what makes Unity special?
I do believe that, like, the one thing that makes Unity special, and well, here, the way I'm going to say it is exactly the experience I had, right? I didn't feel afraid at all, because when using Unity or being part of the Unity community, you always feel like people are sort of in the same level as you, or not only on the same level, but they're always willing to help you, right? I've never had issues with finding help. Of course I have issues like finding answers to specific code things, but never did, have I felt that people wouldn't help at all. So I feel like that, combined with like the asset store or many other things that people are doing, not only in terms of like projects that are available, but of course just tutorials that we have, awesome creators making stuff. It's impressive, the amount of Unity creators, and of course that's really important to us, and it's very cool. So I do watch a lot of like tutorials from very creators, and I feel like this sense of community, either if it's in a project it's available or not, just a sense, right? Just because something that's a reality of game dev is that if you're very unaware of what game dev is or how it works, you're just gonna be scared of it, right? I guess the most powerful thing that you can have as a someone that wants to start with game dev is to not be so much afraid. Like you need some people to help you understand, like, hey, this is the way. Don't, once you get it, it'll be much easier. So I would say that that's the most powerful thing, and I think that the Unity community, in a lot of sense, provides that.
Andre,
sorry.
I remember back in February when you were working on your video where you were recreating the mechanics from Zelda, linking the two worlds, right? Going sort of, and you were asking questions on sort of how to approach that, right? And right around that time, we had an event in the office where we invited some folks to come and join us to learn about new things. And Freya was part of that event, right? And so there you are, sort of breaking your head, really racking your brain around how to make that link between the worlds work for the purpose of the video, because you're really trying to recreate those mechanics. And I remember you guys having that conversation, right? And it was like, oh yes, of course, it's just you do this and this and that, and there you go, right?
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect of the community is super approachable, that desire to help each other, I think it is really quite phenomenal. In a way, it's almost okay to kind of be in a position where you feel like you are not the smartest person in a room, because you are constantly challenged by everybody who is digging in and learning, right? And it's just sort of that support that you get from everyone. You're never really brought down for the question that you have. It's really, oh yes, of course, let me show you. This is how you do it, right? And that's
absolutely,
it's really super powerful, because on your own, right, something that you could be spending 3 days trying to figure out on Google by changing your query and every word that you put in, right, you could ask someone like Freya or Andre and get an answer in 5 minutes.
I agree. Yeah, I think one of the most important parts is to just understand that a lot of people are not, no one is like crazy knowledgeable. Like everyone has one little, I mean, I believe that everyone's always learning, right? So as long as we all understand that, that's perfect for me. That's fine.
One of the things that always surprises me is the super intelligent people who work at massive companies that basically say, "Oh, I didn't know that," or you like watch one of my videos and go, "Wow, you taught me something, or a different way, different perspective of viewing," and then I find out who they are and where they work and what they do in their own projects, and I'm basically look at them and go, "How could you ever learn anything from me when I perceive you at being such a high level?" But there's no egos whatsoever. I always look at Unity at being an equivalent of a gym, like a really good weightlifter's gym. And if you go to a weightlifter's gym and you're a little small person like myself with no muscle on you whatsoever, and you go in there and there's all these like big bodybuilders bench pressing and lifting massive weights. When they look at you, they don't just go and start putting you down. They actually spot you, help you, encourage you, motivate you, and bring you up, never let you put yourself down. And that is, I think, the greatest strength of Unity, is that the community is actually a community that, exactly as you describe it, they don't care who's the smartest person in the room, and they actually love the fact that they're not the smartest person in the room. And if there's somebody who's struggling, they immediately reach out a hand to lift them up rather than push them down. Because let's be honest, Unity is a great platform, accessible. It's not the best game engine out there, and until only recently, things didn't really look that pretty in it. So it's a bit like an abusive relationship sometimes using Unity, in that back in Unity 4, like I was going to say, the golden age, accessible, great potential. Unity 5 stabilized it, and then we've had like a very rocky period, a rocky relationship. 2017, and we've got 18, 19, where 2020, HDRP, UNet, we're confused. But the thing that keeps us together is the strength of the potential and the camaraderie behind it, which is, I think that is what, honestly, is what keeps us coming back every single day, and like looking at people like yourself, Brakis, Sam, and saying, wow, you know what, today I'm going to make a mobile game, or today I'm going to make a Doom clone, or today I'm going to make a game which is a picture color in book, and you're using the same engine for completely different things that you never would have thought possible in your bedroom, sitting there in your underpants with a bowl of cornflakes on your lap.
Exactly. That's the spirit.
Do you both mind if I just kick over to a couple of questions that we had in Discord? And if any of them get a little bit too technical or completely out of your area, feel free to shut them down. But if I don't ask them, these people will hunt me down and beat me up, because they're taking this opportunity and they're grabbing it with both hands. And here we were talking about how we have such a nice community. Yeah, don't be physically abusing Messi. No, it's too late for that. It's been 2 years of them beating me with a wet kipper. So I'm going to open up to, and it's I'm going to say we don't start as we mean to go on with these questions, but it's one that has hit many people, and it hits some people more than others because they get over ambitious. You can get ambitious with a project, and sometimes the technical limitations do hit you. So Sengoku asks, I created a scene and I saved it, but then when I tried to open it, Unity said, the application, not somebody from Unity phoned him up, obviously, that said that the scene is over 4 gigabytes large and can't be opened, and he can't open it again. And he should take the scene and make it smaller. But he's stuck, because how can he make the scene smaller when he can't physically open the scene in Unity?
That's an interesting one. I actually never saw that one. Is it an empty scene or is it like a scene that was made and constructed with a ton of things?
It's got a ton of things. It's got a large number. I mean, Sengoku, you're in chat. How many thousands of prefabs have you got in your scene? It's a huge scene. It's a massive world, but it's 4 gig in size, so it's hit that limit.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I do not know the answer for the question, but I can, since I am on the Discord now, I can look for internal questions because I actually never saw that issue, and I would actually be interested to knowing the solution to this one specifically.
There we go, Sengoku. I love it when we pose questions and make people scratch their heads and think. Thank you, Sengoku. Fresh Meat, our very own Fresh Meat 911 comes in and says, why is there an error reporter for crashed project that never has a solution for the crash? I think that's is that more of a rhetorical question?
I guess. I mean, well, so can you repeat that question again?
So he said, why is there an error reporter for a crashed project that never has a solution for the crash?
I guess that's a complicated one, huh? That's a good question.
That is.
I also do not know.
Sengoku's back again with another question. Will there ever be a floating point fix by Unity so we can create large terrains by default? Now, this is a great point because if we look at Gaia Pro with Adam Goodrich that came on the other day, actually implemented their own fix. And there's a lot of developers that are found that problem and implementing their own floating point fix. But it'd be great to have natively resolved inside Unity. Has that ever been a problem to you in your projects?
Yeah, that is something that is on the works for sure. Of course, we are making it better, but as far as I know, we are working on that.
Oh, fantastic! You made a lot of people happy with that one. And here we go. We've got 2 questions that I think sit very neatly in your area. So, first one, Wizards Don't Code asks, what plans do Unity have to support and attract asset publishers? So I think that's a great one of like it's kind of like bringing people in, like yourself, evangelists onto online evangelists, but in a slightly different area to the asset store itself.
Yeah, I guess maybe I could speak to that one, Andre. That's something that I collaborate quite closely with the team that supports Asset Store, and since in my day job I work with content creators like yourself, like Brackies, and many others, and then the other portion of of my day job is looking after community organizers that host Unity meetups in real world, right? There are hundreds and hundreds of those all over the world, and almost every place in every country there is one. And every time we sort of have meetups and we talk to the community, one of the questions that they have is I see Unity as an opportunity to create a living for myself, right? And say I'm an artist. I would love to be on the asset store selling my assets. What are the programs that you have? Mm-hmm. What are sort of the initiatives that you're working on, right? And I think Asset Store has gone a long way, right? I've been with Unity. I will be with Unity for 2 years this summer. And, you will see that it has been changing. There are, heaps more changes that are coming. We're always working on making things better. And as part of it too, we're also looking at seeing how we can make, your quality of life, how can we improve that as a asset store publisher, right? Or even if somebody who's promoting the assets, so as an affiliate. So while, I know this is really long-winded and I can't say much, I will say there are some really wonderful things that are in the works right now that should be coming out your way sometime this summer. So if you are if you are a content creator or an asset creator, if you're making tools, whatever it is that you could be creating that you feel the community could benefit from, do look into the asset store programs. They're going to be really wonderful upgrades and sort of changes that are coming that will attract more people, both in terms of publishing the assets, but also in terms of, searching through the store, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that's a bit cryptic, right? But it is something that, we're always keeping in the back of our head, in the back of our minds, right? I mean, one of the most incredible things about it, right, is that you could be in your editor and then you are thinking, okay, well, I'm really not an artist, I'm a developer, and I'm really not looking forward to creating this asset. Next thing you do, you go to the asset store and you find something for free, or you decide to purchase something, right? So a massive portion of those engagements that are happening, right, massive number of those assets that are sold and purchased or that downloaded for free on Unity's asset store, they're actually not made directly by Unity. They're made by people from the community like yourself, right? So it would be absolutely silly of us not to think about how can we make the life of asset store publishers better, as well as you as a user who's searching on the asset store. So stay tuned, really great things coming. Summer 2020.
Summer 2020. Oh, fantastic. Yonder Noughts is asking, asset store programs, where would I go to find out about these?
So if you just go to Google and type up Unity Asset Store, on the bottom of the page, you will be able to sign up as a publisher. Or if you're actually looking to direct traffic to the asset store and you want to be an affiliate, there is a link there as well. So just as easy as just Googling Unity Asset Store.
Also, these it's just there's no particular what you say programs like specifically for existing publishers to go and find. Because Yonder Noughts is we're very fortunate. We've got in the Discord 100 of the world's finest asset store publishers as members of the Messy Coded Discord, and one such example is Yonder Noughts Games in chat. No, shameless plug. Exclamation mark Neo FPS in chat. So we've got, if I'm just put the browser on here, so I'm at the bottom of the asset store page. We've got asset store tools, publisher login, submission guidelines, and
that's right.
So
if you wanted to sell on the asset store, if you're creating assets, then you'd be becoming a publisher.
There's a lot that we've got a lot of people who you're saying really use the asset store as a source of income that changes their lives, because there's people with cost of living is so different around the world. And Andre, you're saying that you're from Brazil. I've got a lot of asset publishers from surrounding countries in that area where that dollar sold on the asset store makes a massive difference. For example, we've got 3D Forge in chat who's over in South Africa, and the rand at the moment crashing. So every sale on the asset store makes a massive difference direct into people's lives. So yeah, anything that the asset Unity does to help promote and help its existing publishers and new publishers, it can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and Messi, to your point too, I think when folks get together and they talk on Discord about whether or not it's worth your time, right, it is something to keep in mind, right, about where are you, right? So a dollar in a place like San Francisco doesn't go as far as a dollar in a place like Bogota, Colombia, right? So last year when we were there for developer days, we talked to actually students at a local university that create 3D assets. And so to your point, right, if you are sort of held back because you've spoken to someone and they say, yeah, it's okay, right? You really, you ought to ask yourself, where are they? What are those cost of livings, right? And also, every asset has its buyer, right? So my mom always says every pot has its lid. So if you're thinking, oh, there's so many of those already, why should I put another knight, another armor, etc., etc. There will be someone who will be particularly interested in your asset. So don't be discouraged. I think where there's market, there's always an opportunity. So take that chance and have a look, especially if you've already got those created.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to crack an egg. Some people like a different solution to the same problem. We have had some fantastic stories from asset publishers. We're coming up to the 100th interview of asset store publishers now on Twitch. So in those 95 interviews that we've done so far, lots of different stories from different people around the world. So one of the saddest ones that we had was somebody who spent like 6 months to a year working on an asset, was doing well, and then suddenly, like the change of the asset store dried up their sales, and they basically couldn't see the asset store as a viable option of their time anymore, because it just wasn't cost effective. They just weren't making any money from the asset store. Literally, like zero sales all of a sudden. And those like exactly you described, that if you are living in a country where the cost of living is high, when something like that happens, it really hits you. But if you're where this is like a nice little extra income, passive income that you could be having, then that's a different way of thinking about it. If you got something and you stick it on the store and you make a passive income from it, that's fantastic. It's just when the cost of supporting that asset as well starts becoming an issue, especially if you've got a code asset and you get lots of people asking you questions, because one of the things about Unity that we love is accessible for lots of different people, but it also means that people from very limited basic technical knowledge buy an asset thinking that they're going to click the big red button, Andre, and make my MMO.
It works.
So you do get a lot of people like saying it doesn't do it. 1-star review on the asset store, and they're like, well, you didn't read any readmes and you didn't contact anyone. So do you always feel that you're a little bit fortunate, Andre, that you went into the tutorial side of it and not actually publishing assets yourself?
I mean, like I feel like there's a positive side on everything. The tutorial side is definitely interesting because you get to see a lot of people trying your stuff really quick. Like it's much easier for someone to just try it out. But I would try to say to people, just try the asset store more often. It's so cool to just try it out and download some stuff there, some systems for games that sometimes we don't have the time or effort to develop. There's so much cool stuff in the asset store that that like I said in the beginning, it was one of the things that made me super interested about Unity, was just being able to download stuff really quick and try things out, either free or paid. Like it was cool either way. It's pretty cool.
And Andre, today is the last day of the sale, so if you do an !Messi sale in chat, there's a link to the asset store. And there's also Fresh Meat. Do you want to stick that 10% coupon that Unity are giving away to people, so get an extra 10% on your bucket? So yeah, if you want to, exactly Andre saying, go check out the asset store. It's on a sale at the moment. I don't think he realizes that we're all addicts or pushers here. Yes, we are addicts and pushers here in the channel. That's right, wizards. We've got a couple of more questions, and there's always the comparison between Unity and Unreal. Obviously, Unreal have got some big wallets behind them that are helping them to go for a very aggressive footstep in the market share. We've got a question in chat saying that if you think that Unity will go down that mega grant route the same way that Unreal have done.
That's an excellent question, right? And to your point, Messi, right? We are talking that we are talking about the company that cranked out Fortnite, that essentially does have probably industry's deepest pockets, right? So it's really hard to answer. I don't think either Andre and I are in a position to say that. I do know that when I say that, whenever we have our teams meetings or large organizations meet, the first and foremost principle, right, is that creators are first, right? And this is not me trying to be cheesy, right? You've heard so many times in all of Unity's presentations and events, right? The world is a better place with more creators first. So it'd be interesting to see, how we adapt to the world where, Unreal is doing those fantastic things. I also will say that, internally at Unity, I think a lot of people perceive it as such a, sort of rivalry sibling relationship, who's better, who's more, versed, and who's better in sports, right? But in a way, it's how it should be, right? There should be that something to, benchmark yourself against, and that's how you realize whether or not you're improving, whether you're doing better, whether or not you're giving what your community wants. And of course, there will be people that can be on just one side of the camp or the other, right? But there are folks that are not, that are engine agnostic, and they will just go with whatever is easiest for them, right? And for us, we see what they do, and we hope that Unreal sees what we do as just a healthy way of given the community what they really need, given the tools to our creators to produce the visions that they had when they first looked up how to make an XR game or a VR game or something like that, right? So we really shall see what's going to happen. I know that, of course, it's a massive opportunity, and for anyone who's got a project in mind and they don't really care which engine they're going to make it in, right? It's a no-brainer, right? When you can apply for a grant. But then again, it's just about what you're comfortable with and what you hope to see through success with in a maybe sometimes shortest way possible. Whatever route you try to take, right? It's I know that's someone who works at Unity. What else do you expect me to say? I love the company I work at, right? But I also can say that what Unreal does supporting the community, it's fantastic, right? Like I couldn't sit here and say, oh, how dare they giving all that money away because they have it, right? If that's what it takes to produce the next amazing experience, the next amazing game, the next coolest animation, then I think it's healthy, because that's what keeps you guys pushing forward, because you see that that's available and that vision is achievable. So that challenges all other creators to take a step up and do a bit better on your next project. So to me, I think it's healthy and it should exist.
That's great. It's always nice when we see one company do something, innovate, and other companies see that innovation and embrace it and even look to extend it. And going back to Andre, it's like very much like the open source mentality. If you see something, you take it somebody else has made and you build upon it. And sometimes it's not open source, like you do with the games. You see how someone made something, you think, how would I do the same thing? And then you build your own interpretation of it. And it's interesting to see that if Unity as a company also has the same mentality as your videos, Andre, where they see how the competition work in something new and go, well, how would we do it at Unity with our own flavor?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, kind of when you look at the past several years, right, some of the things that you've been hearing a lot is that, we need better tools for artists, right? And that's a lot of the direction that has been taken over this time, right, where we've recognized that, there are certain tools that we could be providing that will make that artist's lives easier, right, between the, VFX graph and shader graph, and kind of talking about node-based. And, Andre, I'm sure you can speak better to that, right, as somebody who comes with an artist background. But in the way, that innovation was fueled by the fact that we wanted to provide something that our community wanted, based on the fact that there are players in the space that, are able to give that to someone, right? So it pushed us to work towards giving that. And there are such cool projects that we've seen come from folks, both internally at Unity. I don't know if you guys follow Kijiro. He's actually on our team in Japan. And that guy is like VFX God.
Bro,
total VFX. I mean,
go follow Kijiro right now.
Go follow Kijiro. It is out of this world, right? And it's like, you see, and also, I believe all of his repos are also public, aren't they, Andre?
Yeah. Most of them are, yes.
But if it's something that even slightly pokes your interest, you guys should be following him and on his GitHub right now.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, and just to speak to that, Elena, I feel like, again, not to try to be cheesy, of course, but the only reason like why we're here, right, why we're supporting the community is because we sort of believe in all the effort that has been done, and we see it from the inside. So it's kind of like true, and it's very like it makes me happy to see like the effort, like with the artist tools that Elena just mentioned. Like my journey to learning things was just a bit harder than usual, and whatever step that we take to make it a bit easier and more accessible to any kind of developer, right? Not only the coders, but the artists and stuff, right? Like I came from an art background, so I feel like the steps with like shader graph and VFX graph have been super interesting. I myself have been trying these things out, and honestly, it's just mind blowing. And like Elena said, for me, like the important thing is it doesn't really matter where you come from, right? It just matters that like we can get people that never dreamed about making a game. Well, they dreamed about making a game, but they never dreamed that they could make it. And that's my only motivation, is that I feel like the moment I was the most happy in my professional life was when I felt that I could do stuff So if I can't do stuff, I mean, if I can do people feel like that, and also work at a company that tries to make people feel like that, that's amazing. That's like a win-win.
That's the thing. When you wake up in the morning and you're excited and proud to be going to work because you share the same vision and ethics, it's something that you don't want to be leaving too soon. So yeah,
Exactly.
they got a couple of more questions, and then in Discord, and a couple of questions in chat, and then I've got one that hits directly at yourselves. So I'll do another one from Wizards. He says, has Unity learned any valuable lessons, do you feel, about how to make a major platform changes like render pipeline without making life difficult for asset publishers, e.g. publisher ratings being pushed down because they don't support HDRP when HDRP is not yet stable? So
That's
it's a bit
spicy one.
Yeah, it is.
That's a spicy.
It is spicy.
No, but I feel like we are always listening, right? Like there's definitely a lot of feedback that we got last year is a lot of what we're doing towards the release of the LTS, right? And also the newest version of Unity. And the only thing I can talk about like is just rest assured that we definitely like hear a lot of what, the concerns, and especially with the how do you say this, with the change of workflow from one pipeline to another. It's interesting because like I had no idea how it was. Like it's almost impossible to know how a company reacts to this kind of like feedback and stuff. And that was my vision before I joined, right? Like I had no idea. But now that I joined, I actually see like a lot of people like opening forums, opening Twitter, opening everything. We share them in our own personal like channels. We talk about those, and rest assured that a lot of people are aware, and a lot of people are trying their best to make like learn from those like difficult things that have been going, like adaptations to other pipelines. And we're trying our best to like make that easier for everyone, for developers, for asset developers, even people that are just messing around, right? Like we want to, and also that's also a big part of our responsibility when being like evangelists, is educating people, right? Because there's a big pipeline change. We also want to educate people, right? So I can also tell you and rest assured that we are also trying our best to educate. So if you look into the Unity YouTube channel, we also have a lot of videos on conversions, right? Like, oh, you have a project that's in the standard render pipeline, you want to bring it to the universal render or HD or high definition pipeline. Here's how, and we listened a lot to what people to need. So it's great to have comments like this and questions. So I really appreciate those, because I'll literally like if there's anything today that I feel like it's a very valuable feedback, rest assured I will take it tomorrow to our channels and be like, hey guys, this is something the community is saying, and I know they will like have it, like they will listen to it like really nicely and stuff and make it a priority.
That's
on that
one.
note
Sorry,
too,
yeah, sorry, Elena.
Missy, maybe it's a shameless plug, right? But you guys, I am on chains for our beta testers, right? And so if you feel that some of those frustrations that you've had aren't being addressed, right, I would highly recommend that you do join that group of testers, right? Because you will have a chance to speak to the devs and kind of submit your feedback in a place where it actually gets put in a one centralized location, and then that feedback gets prioritized, right, and looked at. So what are we fixing next? What are we addressing next? Et cetera, et cetera. And that group of testers is so passionate, right? And if you feel that something has been on your mind and it's just sort of maybe not getting resolved fast enough, or you feel that you have something to share that you haven't seen addressed on the forums before, please do join that program. It's open. Go check it out, take place in making Unity better, right? If that's an engine you're committed to, I think it should be a two-way relationship. And that's a place where you'll be listened to, right? And addressed.
That's one of the concerns that people have is, are Unity listening? Because a lot of people have been around for many years. I mean, I was talking to somebody who has been 2012, 2014, with Unity, and seen it grow from knowing the execs by name to now being this massive company where there's a lot of faceless people, but are people still listening? Can they still reach out and say something and have their voice heard? And if they listen, would they even acknowledge or change the direction? Is Unity now such a big ship that it can't easily make these agile changes like once it could?
I mean, I feel like, sorry, Elena, if you,
No, go ahead, Andre, you go.
I was just gonna say that I usually I feel like the sentiment in general is that the growth, of course, is very, we can perceive it, but the general sentiment that I feel, like, this is my personal view, right? I always feel like people always try to like stop for a second and be like, okay, we are growing. What can we do to always look back, right? And this is just my personal view on how I've been perceiving how things work in my team or the other teams that I've worked together in Unity, right? A lot of people are super consciousness of like, hey, people are actually looking for this, So a lot of what's going on is, like you said, like Unity is becoming so big and so big, of course, then it just takes more time to figure out, like, okay, so what can we prioritize? What can we do? What can we bring that's new? What can we bring that it's fixing like old issues or requirements? So I feel like that's just my personal opinion. Like, maybe I'm super biased because I'm a bit new at the company, but it just feels like at least from a perspective that from before I joined, I was like, I wonder if they listen. And like they do, and there's always discussions on how to make the next big step.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you guys kind of are getting an inside view into how we operate, right? On our team in particular, and I think just throughout the company too, one of the things that are strange, right? Coming from, I'm pretty old, right? I'm not ancient, but I'm up there, guys, age-wise. This is not my first job, right? And I worked at places where you had feedback and it was like, you keep that to yourself. You speak about it to your coworkers after hours when nobody else is listening, right? Wow. And this is not how it is at Unity, right? Andre is also, he's in Copenhagen, right? And that office carries a lot of legacy. There are folks there that have been there since the company started, right? And you see them walk around the office, sometimes bare feet, sometimes in their socks, right? And they all sit down and they hash it out. And, the conversations are always very, very honest, right? Sometimes they end up in, like, yeah, sure, this is cool. Sometimes it's like, well, this is for a much longer tail, right? So let's talk about it and let's table it for now. But I've never had a conversation where I brought feedback from the field and I was told, listen, this is not important right now. The business is doing this and that. It's always directed to a place where somebody is working on it, right? Because again, one of the reasons why we're able to have that really robust community of developers is because, we want to provide the feedback, and we hope that we'll get even better at iterating faster on those requests.
That's great. That's the golden answer that everyone's hoping for. That is the view that we still have, that Unity isn't losing its identity, and that what made it special. And there is a concern, especially with a lot of the changes that have been happening, that is Unity losing its identity, or it's never going to be the same identity as it had, because now it's a larger organization. But you got people who are scared of change, and the people who are scared of that change is going to make a radical difference. And I think there's still the concern of what happened with UNET is going to happen again. And that's where we've got questions about dots. And I know you said you got the dots legend is going to be on Sunday. But,
on Sunday.
Yeah. Andre, you've obviously touched on dots with your stuff. And Elena, you've had streams and talking about it as well on ECS. So we've got a couple of questions, and there's a film question that I want to shoot over to you, Andre, as well in a second. So how does Unity plan to progress with ECS and dot stack, especially when it comes to educating people and making them start using it? So for a lot of people, right, that data-oriented way of thinking is completely foreign, and Unity has made conversions easier than it was early on. But Gildar feels that it's still a long way to go when it comes to actually making it more accessible. And I think that's the strength of both of yourselves and the team that you're in.
Yeah, so a lot of what we're doing right now is internal understanding of ECS. The whole thing about like ECS and dots is that like it's a whole paradigm. Ugh, I don't even know how to speak anymore.
Paradigm.
Like,
Paradigm. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm not an English native speaker. I'm so sorry,
your
everyone.
English is better than mine,
Anyways,
so don't even
don't say that. Anyways, so what we've been doing, right, is like internally try to learn it, and if you are just like I am, super used to the old ways of the game object world and everything, it just takes a little bit longer. And the one thing we wanted to make sure is that everyone in our team, the people that are responsible for educating and making videos and making content, we want to make sure that we know the like principles and know how to guide people towards the right direction when it comes to people that actually want to use ECS and DOS in their projects. So it's like our plans, like what we're doing right now is that I can tell you is that we are all learning. There's a lot of different level, people in different levels in our team, the people that are producing content and making tutorials. And so it's just a matter of getting the technology evolving, because it is constantly evolving to the best, which that's what I think, right? And if we get to learn it and we can sort of master it, then I say that we are super ready to just like, present that to people in a more learnable way, in a more approachable way.
And I have a few things to add here too. One is an anecdote. Another one is redirecting Yonder to a few channels that we think could be of great help when you're trying to kind of understand how to change the way you do things, in the new data-oriented tech stack, right? So an anecdote here. So we use internal communication tools where we bring in content creators to then connect with our devs, because we really want to make sure if somebody's covering something and they're really passionate about it, that we educate them the best way they can. So when they produce the message that's viewed by thousands of people, there is no sort of, learning in the wrong way. And then it's like, oh, shoot, now I've been doing this wrong this whole time, right? So one of the channels that I highly recommend for you guys to check out if you're interested in kind of understanding dots better is Code Monkey. Again, fantastic content. He covers dots quite a bit, variety of videos for all levels, so go check him out. But the creator behind Code Monkey, he joined us on our internal communication tools, and he asks questions because he wants to make sure what he produces is really accurate. And one time he posted a message in Slack, and Joachim responded to, right? And if you guys don't know, right, he's one of the original guys behind Unity. So he pops in, he saw a question, he was, it piqued his interest. And as you, of course, can imagine, he's one of the original architects behind ECS, right? And so here he is answering a question, no problem whatsoever, right? And so just want you to give that perspective, right? That nobody is too good or too advanced or too high up in the hierarchy to answer a question from the community, right? So don't worry about those changes that you may perceive, Unity growing. People are still as humble as they were back when Unity first started.
Oh, that's great.
So that's a cool anecdote. Go check out Code Monkey and Brian Will. We work with them. We kind of get to watch a lot of their content. So if you're trying to kind of switch the way your mind works because you're trying to, switch to dots, then I think they would be great folks to check out to better understand where this is going, how things are currently done. And of course, for all things, whether or not you should be building a game in dots right now, I would say that you probably should still hold Unity as a source of truth for that, right? Because that's a really big change, right? So I think if Unity is saying hold off for now, creating your game fully in dots, then that's probably the best thing to do. And like I said, from our team, Mike Geig is definitely sort of that dots poster boy. So go follow him on Twitter, ask him a million questions. Don't tell him we sent you.
That's brilliant. There was a great question earlier, Andre, about what Unity are doing in filmmaking. Given your background, I think that's a great question for you.
What have Unity been making for? Sorry, what was that again?
To help filmmakers.
So, filmmakers. Right. With so with HTRP, it's crazy, man. Like a lot of a lot of possibilities have shown up. And actually, by the way, this is a great opportunity to talk about this teaser now that we have for a new short film that has been produced with Unity. It's called Wind Up, if I'm not mistaken, and it's on in our YouTube channel. And it just goes to show another type of demo, because we recently saw The Heretic, Adam, and the other Unity demos, but this one also is pretty nice, and it looks like the family 3D movie aspect that you expect. And it's such a nice movie. And I think that honestly, a lot of the packages that have been coming up, I know Cinemachine is not that new, but the way Cinemachine has been upgrading, and also, oh, there you go. There on the screen we have a teaser for Wind Up, which is so lovely. It's so amazing. I can't wait this to go out for everyone to watch the full thing. Anyways, yeah, I mean, the whole thing about like Cinemachine and HDRP has been enabling a lot of people to do awesome stuff, and I think that's not only on Unity side. There's also a lot of people that are doing awesome little short films, and I do think that real time movies or animations are somehow the future. It's really hard to say. Like it's such a next level thing, but I had the opportunity to load up The Heretic, for instance, in my computer, which is completely amazing. I don't even know how to tell you. It's like the most crazy thing. Like you said, like it feels like you're standing on the shoulder of gods. But anyways, it's crazy because The Heretic was built using only real-time lights, just real-time lights. Like I thought there was going to be like a little bit more like, oh, baked lights or anything like that. But they're all real-time lights. And when I was asking the team that made it, oh, by the way, one of the questions in the chat was like, I wonder what's the size of the team. And if you go to the Heretic page, which I think it's unity3d.com/the/ oh yes, how do you say dash? Yeah, the dash Heretic. You can see the size of the team. Anyways, when I was speaking to them and asking questions about the project in general, just because I was really curious, they said that this approach of making real-time lights, like imagine this in a production, like a movie production, like a short film or something. Just the ability of changing the light in front of your team, or just like the creative part of everyone that's working on it, and be like, okay, no, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze really soon.
That's right.
I apologize for that in the
Let
future.
it go. It's what makes it live TV so much fun.
It kind of disappeared just because of that. Awesome. Anyways, yeah, as you can see in that very scene that you're highlighting, I was on the top one with the city. I was so crazy. I was messing with it, and that light is if you spin it around, it just basically adapts the shaft into the city, because the city is not a billboard. It's like it's all 3D modeled, which is also insane. Like it's crazy. And like it was so cool because for me, I was watching a possibility of making a little short film where I can like bring a creative team together and be like on a literal like Zoom call if I want. I can be like, hey guys, here's how it's looking, and then everyone can give their creative input.
Wow.
And I really feel like that's the sort of the future of like how people are going to produce these animated movies and stuff. But yeah.
Andre, MK is asking, so there has been no pre-baked global illumination on that scene?
So as far as I know, I will stand to I will not risk it, right? And I will say, I'm not completely sure. I'm not going to risk it. But when I use the project, that big light, that source, it's just one light source. And it has some other lights here and there. I don't know if you're aware of like light layers. There are some light layers in Gwen, which is the character in Boston. And of course, there's one light behind there in the cave. There's like not only one light source, of course. There's like multiple light sources with light layers, which is like a feature that you can basically make the light affect just certain meshes if you want, and renders. So it's pretty insane. It's pretty cool.
And another thing too, to add to sort of the future of animation and filmmaking and the use of real-time 3D, right, is I'm also seeing a question from Tech Treader 1. I should probably wear my glasses because I'm blind as a bat.
That's right.
Was Unity used in making Lion King, right? That's something to consider too, that if you're looking at the whole process of creating something as complex as Lion King, right, or making a smaller indie project, right, there are multiple stages to creating something like a short animation, right. Back in the day, in the old days, as my stepdad would say, when I was a young boy, you kind of had that process where you would have a whiteboard and you would put your characters, and then you would have the flow, of how it progresses through the scene, and then you would have to, draw out the character to make basic animations, and there is this massive work, right, that goes in before you even have your first visualization.
Thank you for making me feel so old. You've just described that was like the first part of my life, doing storyboards and cell animation and model animation. That's all right. I'm just going to go get my pension now.
Retire in the Maldives, but no, but now you don't have to do that anymore, right? Now you go into Unity, you drop your assets, and your pre-production is production, right? I was lucky enough to travel to India last year and go to an India IT summit where heaps of topics were on animation and filmmaking, right? There is a huge office of MPC in actually India and Bangalore. And MPC, if you guys have read any articles, they've been hugely involved in the production of Lion King, right? But, what's happening is that, by the time you could have gotten to a project, part of a project where you then had, investor to pitch to, you've done so much work, and then you sat down in front of someone and they said, well, I want you to change this. So you have to go back and start over. Whereas now you're in a position where your pre-production is really production, and everything is, changed and rendered in front of your eyes, right? In the same token, something like Jungle Book, right, where you could be using virtual reality to actually, have your one real character in the game to put a headset on, and then, kind of experience the scale of what does the bear look like next to me, right? What are all the animals looking like? Because there's only one actor and everything else is done in, with the magic of computers, and even more so going further, right? Taking real pictures of environments and then bringing them into your, your engine, right? Because you no longer have to sit there and make everything by hand, right? So the future of animation, I think, is so exciting, and there's so much on the horizon, especially as the tools are evolving. But if that's something that piques your interest, there are amazing proof points that have been done by teams, of one, by teams of 10, by huge productions using Unity, Unreal, of course, as well. So it just goes to prove that even one person can produce something that's absolutely fantastic because the tools are available. It's just understanding how to bend the tools and make them do what you want them to do.
Yeah. And just to answer the question, yes, I do believe it was used to prototype the Lion King.
Correct.
Yes, right. So that's.
I think it was used. I believe it was used in pre-production.
Exactly. So there is a video of like the making of Lion King, which you can see the Unity UI, and you get really excited for 2 seconds. You're like, yes, it's so nice. But yeah, it was used. So like it's cool because you can also use it for pre-production, right? So it's also pretty cool to just imagine you do want to make a all baked animation, but what if you just want to test angles and things beforehand in a very quick way that you can show actors and stuff? So it's pretty cool stuff.
And the most exciting stuff is that you don't need to have a render farm after you're done with your project. You don't have to have someone sit at the render farm and press, space bar on the computer so the computer doesn't go to sleep after 269 and a half hours of rendering, right? It's all done right in front of you.
There you go. As you can see on the Twitch screen.
What's so exciting about it? Like, what's so cool about it? But if you were from back in the day when you had to go through a render farm, like the whole aspect of I don't have to sit through that anymore, that's what's really exciting.
There's a few of us in chat who used to use video toasters. The stuff that was used to make like the Babylon 5 TV series. Life has changed quite a lot.
Life has changed.
And thanks
what lies beyond the sun. But what I was gonna say something. Oh no, and I do understand that this movie wasn't the most best, like it hasn't had the greatest reception, but I am super biased because this movie has Donald Glover and Beyonce, so it's like, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of love this movie, so it's just how it goes.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
None of the live actions are really striking that much of a chord. I think some of the creative licenses they made, like they removed. I haven't seen it, but apparently they removed the iconic stampede scene with the buffalo. So
Wait, I thought that was.
That wasn't removed.
I thought that was in the movie.
They scaled it down rather.
Okay.
But it's hard to argue with the original animation, right? But why are we talking about Lion King? I
don't
focused
know.
too.
We've
But
got
guys,
distracted on
listen to Donald Glover and Beyonce. That's my tip of the day.
Donald Glover can do no wrong. So
Exactly.
I wanted to focus on one thing that you guys in the online technical evangelist team, is that you're now bringing in something into Unity which is very valuable, and that's the ability to quickly take ideas and roll out prototypes and games, and even just making something real, like you described before, that you learned so much from building these small little prototypes, partaking in game jams, having a set goal. And this is what is so fantastic about your YouTube videos, Andre, is that when you're looking at recreating a certain feature from a game, what a lot of people don't realize and what they're doing, in that they're actually following a part of a development process to say, okay, we have a feature request. What is the scope of that feature? What are the functional, non-functional requirements of that feature, and then how do we develop that particular feature? So it's not about making an entire game like from start to finish in one. You can't sit and eat a cake in one mouthful. Basically, if you shoved your face in the cake, all you're going to get is cake in your eyes and cake in your ears. So with doing these videos, you're basically taking a small piece of that cake, showing people what ingredients went into that and what it tastes like, and how you're really supposed to eat it properly so you don't get your fingers all messy. And the problem with Unity that many of us feel, we had those questions in chat as well, is that until Unity start really making real world projects with their own tools, they're never really going to understand the real world problems, like Sengoku described with his 4 gig limit, and the floating point issue, and issues with render pipelines or whatever. There was a massive shift when Unity rolled out the FPS demo last year, and everyone just stood up in their chairs and were like, oh my god, here is a playable game. It's a small game, but it's something playable, built by Unity to showcase potential development in their new network and the graphics. This is a new shift in focus, and are we going to be seeing a lot more of these small little fun game projects to showcase what Unity can do, and to teach Unity themselves if their stuff really works? Was
that a question?
It's a question in that, is it going to happen?
Okay.
And are we going to take advantage of the amazing power that is the online evangelist team with all that knowledge to be able to make that reality?
Yeah, of course. That is happening. I don't know if you guys saw the Unite Copenhagen keynote, but another demo for a third-person shooter is being produced, and hopefully everyone will be able to learn from that. And we as evangelists, of course, we're going to try to use that to teach people like how you said, like real world scenarios, right? And the other thing I just want to highlight that you said, that I really appreciate you talking about, like the YouTube and the videos. The other thing is, like, not only do I try to make just like you said, like a portion of it to show how a mechanic development would be in one slice, but I also show that like support and collaboration is really important. And like you mentioned at the start of the stream, I really like to just give credit where it's due, right? Like if I watch the tutorial from someone, if I use an asset from someone, like the reality is that I'm going to like say that I used it, like, and it's always important to work with people. Sometimes, of course, nowadays I really have the opportunity to work with people. Like Elena mentioned, I worked with Freya once, but I also work with like super cool artists as well. Sometimes they want to do like 3D assets, and that's part of game development, like learning to work with people, learning to use resources when you don't, when you don't know, or when you just want to collaborate in general. So yeah. So first question was in terms of the content, right? Like, yes, we're working on that third person demo shooter. And then second, just a thank you for Messi to just saying that, because I feel like a slice of game, like game development and production, is like important for everyone to watch and, be together in this one and learn together.
And Messi, to your point too, right? As you say, it's much more effective to learn the lesson, right, when you've done it yourself, start to finish, right? So to that point, producing what we've shown, right, with the shooter demo, that's kind of also a beauty of having our demo team, right, that produced the Heretic, and the team that I'm sure is going to produce a lot more beautiful work, right? Sitting down, and you would be shocked if you knew, how little time they're usually, given to produce something like that, right?
Really?
But they sit down, right, and they say, okay, we have an event on this date, and we want to produce this for the event because we want to show what we can do, right? And through those exercises, right, you end up oftentimes figuring out what tools are missing, and therefore tools come out of those, right, later down, because they hack them together in the process, and then they say, actually, our community could really use this, so let's figure out how to get that into Unity. By doing those huge, demos with something like Mega City, right? Using dots, something like the FPS sample, right? I think you will probably see, from demo team for certain, you're going to see a lot more, and I think you will kind of get to understand, right, that through that process, yes, so we do learn a lot of what it takes to get something, done from start to finish. We also collaborate with studios that are, working, producing their experiences in Unity start to finish. So we get to get feedback from them too, right? And those could be studios of different sizes. They could be smaller, they could be bigger, right? But it isn't lost on us that, if you haven't done something start to finish, how do you really know what your audience needs, right? And so it's not lost on us.
Brilliant. That's great to hear. And you're very welcome, Andre.
No worries.
Like yourself, give credit where it's due, mate. We've got people in chat saying that your channel is awesome. So there you go.
Thank you so much.
In chat saying that.
You guys are awesome.
They are.
Can I do the Kenny Reeves meme? No, you're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
You can
do this forever.
and I know that I promised you an hour, and we've already gone a little over that. So if you don't mind, we just got a couple of questions, and then if you want to run away, I won't stop you. So if people are saying about the cake analogy, talking about demos, are they going to update the Mega City to run on newer versions? And everyone loves that Mega City.
That's a pretty cool demo, yes. I do not know how to answer because I haven't been following that specific demo. But I'm also very interested to know. But here's another thing, right? Like it shouldn't be so hard to update it any project when you're building stuff. So I'm actually like interested to try myself out to just download the Mega City at the office and try. No, of course not at the office. We're not supposed to go to the office.
The virtual office.
The virtual office, exactly, and just try it out in the other render pipelines for sure. But there are also so many exciting demos that we have. The boat attack demo, which is running in both HRP and URP, which is super exciting. Yeah, Mega City looks. I'm watching your Twitch stream now. It's just like, yeah, Mega City just looks so nice. But yeah, do you have anything that you want to say, Elena?
Maybe we can also maybe that's something we can follow up on by connecting with the team and asking them whether or not they're planning to update it, and and if so, when, and if it's going to be tied to one particular thing or the other. So if you guys don't mind to not give you something that's inaccurate,
no,
I'd
it's
probably
awesome.
just get back to Messi and let him know, and he can share it with you on Discord.
That is fantastic. The fact that, to go off and ask is really appreciated. We love you for that. We've got another question. Maybe there's a few more of these questions that have been sneaking in that probably might get added to your list of questions asking. Are we likely to see an official solution to the cross-scene references when working with objects and additive scene loading?
Sorry, because you're cutting a little bit on my end.
I wonder if you guys are having issues hearing Messi. He sounds a little in and out and maybe a bit.
Hang on, might be because of the.
But maybe that would just be Discord. Then I guess people on the stream would be listening normal. But here, I think the question that you're going to ask, because I kind of heard it, was like, are we likely to see an official solution to cross-scene references?
That's the one. That's the magic.
Yeah. So let me just read it better. Are we likely to see an official solution to cross-scene references when working with objects and additive scene loading? Yes, we are likely to see that, but again, I don't want to give you a precise answer because I am not 100% sure about the proper answers to that question. So if you don't mind, I would be more than happy to follow up with the team. Just ask them and see if I can pop up in the Messi Coder Discord and see if I can, get more answers question, because that would always be a pleasure for sure.
Oh, brilliant. We've got is the GitHub navigation system likely to introduce breaking changes before being released? I think that's a loaded question if ever I saw one.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't think I even know what that is. The GitHub navigation system is likely to reduce. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here like, of course, I just don't know what that is.
I feel like it's a Mike Guy kind of questions, guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stream on May 3rd.
Guys,
or
May
go
3rd.
and ask him on Twitter.
Exactly. Go harass him. Do not say that Elena sent you. Whatever you do.
Oh, the nav mesh navigation components. Oh, because I was like, GitHub navigations like into. Okay, I see.
Yeah, you've got branch on GitHub.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm also not following on that, but at least I got a chance to redeem myself to understand what it was. But I'm happy that But at the same time, it's fine if I. It's okay. It's okay not to know.
Sengoku's asking about round terrains, and over in Discord, we had somebody following up saying you don't really want a round terrain if you want to create a globe. So Sengoku wants to create a globe and have a round terrain. Have you ever heard if there's going to be an official solution towards that? I know you have some assets on the asset store that can help you get there.
There you go. I mean, I never heard of anything official. There should be a lot of solutions that you can implement yourself with shader graph, or even not graphs specifically, to make vertex displacement on an existing terrain and even the other objects in the scene. But what is the asset that you know, Messi? I'm curious.
Oh, there's what's it called? It's sphere or something like that. It's let me find the link while
I feel like I just saw a video where that was achieved with the shader graph.
I don't want to move away from this video that everyone's loving because somebody just mentioned, what game is this? I thought it was Star Citizen or something. And the best compliment that we've recently get with Unity, especially with the HDRP, is that when people say, wow, it looks so good, I didn't realize it was Unity.
I mean, that's the one thing that's very impressive about HDRP is just getting this whole new fresh perspective of what can be done in Unity, right? It's literally like pushing everything to a new horizon when it comes to like the graphics and stuff. I see another question here from I kind of missed it already. Oh no, was it deleted? No, I don't know.
We don't delete.
I was so eager to answer the question. Oh, here you go. Can you do something with spaghetti transitions in animators? Well, here's the one thing I can tell you is that when I started, I didn't really use groups. I don't know if you call them groups or like states. I forgot the name of the grouping system, but you could group specific animation states, those little blocks, into one bigger group, so they get like collapsed in, like almost like a prefab, and that makes your, let's call it spaghetti, right? I do love spaghetti, but but you can make it much more organized. You can also use blend trees, layers. So definitely keep an eye out to the official documentation on the actual features of the animator and even the API. But there's a lot of what you can do, because I know how messy it can get really quick. But I do, like, if you watch even my videos in my channel, like Mix and Jam, I do a lot of like blend trees, which are these animated controllers that change the state based on one parameter, like maybe a parameter or even axis. So make sure to take a look at that, and I hope that really answers your question some way or another.
Thank you. And I can't believe we don't have a Mix and Jam command in chat. Fresh meat, quickly make a Mix and Jam command. There you go.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's Mix and Jam, because I put an and. I'm so sorry. I did a Mix and Jam instead of Mix and Jam. I can't help but write the full words. It's like I have to put that apostrophe in front of the T and I don't.
It kind of looks good. Like the only reason why I made it end was just because of like me being freaked out about symmetry, because it's like Mix has three letters, and has 3 letters, Jam has 3 letters. I'm like, perfect.
Exactly. That's lovely. And by the way, for the asset the one I was thinking of, thank you so much for the link in chat. It is Curved World, which is the one I was thinking of, which is on sale at the moment. Oh my word, it's on sale at the moment. So there you go. So if we make that big, it's a shader solution to make your world curved. So if I find, here we go. So, oh my word. That is great. Look, that's with it off and that's with it on.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's just nuts.
Crazy.
The things that people do in the App Store, it's impressive.
There we go. And there you go. That's the one that blew my mind. There was a video where, there we go, like that. Look at that. It's just nuts. It's magical. It really is magical.
And it's only 15 quid.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, the Asset Store, ! Messi sell in chat. And we had the question like, how can I beat my Asset Store addiction? And then somebody wrote, run out of money. That's what did it for me.
You can take your credit card and put it in a freezer and disconnect it from all of your accounts.
That probably is the way that my wife wants me to do it.
I love how this all reminds me of my addicted mind of Animal Crossing, which I have next to me that I'm playing, and I'm super addicted. So hey guys, Animal Crossing is super cool. I'm just saying this because I'm addicted. Please help me.
I'm very fortunate I don't have a Switch. So, but I looked at my wife and I was like, what are you playing? She goes, Animal Crossing. I said, what are you talking about? You on your iPhone? She goes, yeah, there's an iPhone version of it.
There is an iPhone version, true.
So it has infected my home already.
Yeah, in some way or another.
Well, I think I'm going to have to let you both go, because if I don't, we're going to keep you forever. We got a really nice question. As soon as I said that, speaking of tools, will there be some integration of Automatics with the Unity editor, and will it be free to use?
Excellent
That's
question.
an excellent question.
Somebody has been following the news.
That's true. A very updated person.
Yeah, so we actually, internally, our team will be learning more about the tool, interestingly, by the end of this week, and then we're going to carry that into next week. So I think right now we're not really well poised to answer that. But again, that's something we can follow up on. I know that I've seen the demo. I know Andre worked on that demo as well. Super cool stuff, really exciting. I'm not sure that I know whether or not it's going to be free, something to look out for from the company. But we as a team will be much more familiar with it probably in a week time. So we'll be able to speak more about it. Hopefully next time we get invited on the interrogation couch.
Well,
on the amazing Messy Coder show.
Well, if you tell you what, you're brave enough to come back again, you're always welcome, because I had Cincy Studios on last week when I announced that you'd be coming up. And as I said, somebody from Unity is coming on. And immediately they said, so are you gonna give them the hairdryer treatment as well? I'm like, I'm gonna be nice. And he's like, so they were like, what do you mean you're gonna be nice? You can't be different to them like than you are to the rest of us. And I'm like, well, I'm always nice. And then my DMs were just filled up after the stream with people saying, stop being rude and mean to Cincy Studios whenever they come on. Be polite to them. So yeah, I might have a little bit of a reputation for not having a filter. That goes between head and mouth.
You shouldn't have to treat us with any sort of preferential treatment just because we work at Unity and that's what you talk about, in your channel. I think it's fine and well that you give us the same fair treatment and sort of same filter. I think that's quite fine. Next time we'll bring in Mike Guy will be able to fend some of those dots questions, and he's the kind of guy too that like anything new comes up, he just since that what he does is he creates some of the content to enable other teams within Unity, so he typically is in the loop with something new really, really early on. So
wow.
we will bribe him into joining us as well.
Yeah, explain to him that we have biscuits. And sometimes
he may be more interested in scones.
Oh, cool! We've got scones.
Yeah.
We've got Scottish shortbread, and every now and again we even have vouchers for Unity assets to give away for free in raffles as well. So if he's really lucky and he follows the Twitch channel, he can put an exclamation mark raffle in chat and possibly win something amazing that he could use to make his own games as well. Because you never know. Because Andre, like you said, sometimes somebody could be the best coder in the world, but he can't make art for toffee. And he goes to the asset store and he can pick up AAA artwork, like that amazing stuff from people like Aquarius Max, and we've got Quantum Theory, who was on last week, who actually worked on the Mandalorian TV series. And he's somebody that you can buy assets from the asset store, who also made the Rainbow Six games. He worked for Ubisoft. That is a person who currently is selling his stuff on the Unity Asset Store, !Rome in chat. So if you're looking for AAA, you don't need to go to CG Trader. You don't need to go to the Epic Store. You can just go to the Unity Asset Store. Currently 50% off, and use your 10% voucher as well. So both of you, thank you so much for popping in. You have been an absolute pleasure. We are all massive fans of you both. And you are both welcome to come back whenever you want. The door is always open. The scones will be on the table.
Thank you so much for having us. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you for all the questions and for your passion, really. All these hard questions that you're asking only show us, the passion that you have for what you do with Unity. And we couldn't be more appreciative. This is what keeps us going every day. So thank you so much. And Messi, huge pleasure to have been here. Thank you.
Precisely. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I mean, I had a lot of fun, and thank you so much for, I think that not only there's a lot of passion, but also a lot of inspiration, like the things that you said, everyone's journey. And I'm happy to be part of this. And I really appreciate that you brought us on. I had a ton of fun. A ton of fun.
And you learned the word belch today.
And exactly. But with my good friend, Messi Code.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
What lovely people. What lovely people they are. Wow. I mean, really. Well, that was it for another live dev interview. We've got many more of these beautiful badges for you to watch and listen to. And if you pop over to twitch.tv/themessycoder and click on the VOD section, you can also catch the full-length interviews, all of them, over on Twitch. Actually, maybe 2 or 3 of them were missing because the videos got corrupted on Twitch. But, forget about that part. Go over to allthews.twitch.tv/themessycoder. Click on that follow button and watch the VODs there. Or you can also watch them here over on YouTube. That's right, where you are now. That's youtube.com/themessycoder2. We've also got Twitter. Twitter.com/themessycoder. Pretty much anything you want to stick in front of the Messy Coder, you can stick it there and he'll gladly be on the backside of it. So if you do like these videos, you want to see more, click on that juicy subscribe button, click on that magic bell. If you do like it, click it. Till next time. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.